Larry Hoover, Part
born November
1.
30th, 1950, in Jackson, Mississippi, is a convicted and former American gang leader. He is the co-founder of the Chicago street gang, the Gangster Disciples. He moved to Chicago, Illinois at the age of 4. At the early age of just 13, Hoover dropped out of junior high and joined a gang called the Supreme Gangsters when he was involved in petty theft and muggings. In 1968, Hoover was romantically involved with Wendy Jenkins. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, with whom he shares one of his 3 children, a son named Larry Hoover Jr. The two were denied marriage by the Illinois Department of Corrections until January 9th of 2020, when they were deemed legally married by the U.S. Department of Justice. Hoover was formerly associated with Gangster Disciple Lieutenant A. Marion Taylor. He also involved himself in a fighting code cases about murders that are only now coming to light, also tied to the organization. In 1969, Hoover and David Barksdale called a truce and decided to combine both of their respective rival gangs, Supreme Gangsters and Black Disciples, together to become the Black Gangster Disciple Nation, BGDN. In 1974, after the leader of the Black Disciples, David Barksdale, died from kidney failure by an injury due to an earlier shooting, Hoover took over the reins of the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. He deemed himself the chairman of the crew. At the time the Disciples had control over Chicago's Southside turf under Hoover's rule, the Black Gangster Disciple Nation took over a majority of the Chicago drug trade. While incarcerated in 1978, Hoover formed the Folk Nation, which added many gangs in his personal likeliness and interest to relate to the BDGN. The Folk Nation, which included gangs such as Lady, Satan, Maniac Layton, Spanish Gangster Disciples, Ambrose, the Tutu Boys, Two Sixers, Simon City Royals, Northside Insane Popes, La Raza Nation, Spanish Cobras, Imperial Gangsters, Harrison Gents, and the Latin Eagles maintained their ground from within prison property to drug-ruffled streets. While Hoover was incarcerated, he ran the gang's illicit drug trade both in prison and on the streets, starting from Chicago's West Side and later extending throughout the United States. Similarly, certain parts of the affiliated Folk Nation Alliance began to expand to parts of the United States, including the Midwest, of which Chicago is in. As of 2022, the Gangster Disciples has confirmed expansions to Indianapolis, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Detroit, Milwaukee, Birmingham, Cincinnati, Memphis, and Hoover's birthplace of Jackson.